Archangel Michael says, a cursed object is already in your house. Skip this, and it will bind your finances forever. This is a holy and urgent transmission. Heaven has permitted a sacred interruption because what is hidden in your atmosphere is about to be revealed. This is not just a message. This is a divine alert, and the moment you hear these words, your spirit will confirm it. Something in your environment has shifted. The air has thickened. The room feels heavier. The nights have been louder, even in silence. Something hath been watching. At 3:33 a.m., under divine instruction, the Archangel Michael descended with a message that is not for the many, but for you, the chosen. A dispatch was released through realms, and it reached your doorstep. Why? Because there is a spiritual disturbance anchored inside your home. It is not obvious to the eye. It is not loud in the natural, but it is loud in the spirit. This object, gifted or bought, old or new, is cursed. And as long as it remains undetected, it will continue to bind your finances, delay your prayers, and disrupt your peace. You felt the tension. You've noticed the heaviness. You've done all you know to do, and yet, increase remains distant. Your spirit has been agitated for weeks, but you couldn't name the source. This message is that naming. This is not paranoia. This is prophetic revelation. Hear me clearly. This object is spiritually poison. What looks harmless in the physical has become a legal gate in the spiritual for lack, misfortune, and delay to enter your dwelling. And your breakthrough is not being withheld because God is ignoring you. It's being intercepted. The enemy placed something in your atmosphere to block what heaven released. This word is not for everyone. It is only for those who have discerned the unusual weight in their spirit. Those who feel their finances have been locked. Those who sense something is spiritually off but can't trace the origin. The response required is silence, discernment, and obedience. Heaven has issued a warning, and your response will shift your destiny. Type "I receive this warning" in the comments if your spirit bears witness. Blessing code 333 is now circling your home. Archangel Michael stands before the gates of your household, sword drawn. This is not imagination. This is divine intersection. Heaven has seen what you have not seen. And now, in this very hour, the Archangel Michael has been dispatched to your dwelling, standing at the threshold of your atmosphere with his sword blazing in celestial fire, his wings stretched wide over your home. He is not standing in silence. He has come on assignment. Assignment to protect. Assignment to expose. Assignment to sever what hell thought would remain hidden. Within the next 72 hours, the veil will lift. What has been cloaked in normalcy, what has appeared harmless, sentimental, or even beautiful, will suddenly feel out of place. A flicker in the light. A coldness in the air. A sensation in your spirit that something unseen has been watching. This is not superstition. This is not fear. This is revelation. The atmosphere around you has been speaking louder than words. And some of you have already noticed it. The strange dreams that make no sense. The sudden arguments in the house. The misplacing of money. The rise of anxiety and fatigue. The unexplainable tension. You sensed it but couldn't explain it. That was your spiritual discernment beginning to awaken. That was heaven's first whisper. And now, this is heaven's thunder. A cursed object is already in your house. And if you ignore it, it will continue to bind your finances forever. Let this be made clear. This message is not for the world. This message is not for everyone scrolling, watching, or hearing. This word is for those who have been feeling spiritually stalked, for those whose finances rise only to fall again, for those who've prayed, tithed, fasted, and yet something still resists the flow of heaven's promise. Only the spiritually sensitive will hear this and say, "This word is mine." You see, the enemy doesn't need to be loud when he can be legal. He doesn't need to roar when he can recite. Sometimes he hides in the background, in a forgotten item, in a passed-down gift, in a symbolic statue, in a souvenir, in jewelry, in a photograph, in something you picked up innocently. But that object carries an assignment, and what carries a demonic assignment becomes an entry point. What carries a curse creates a landing strip for lack, for warfare, for emotional instability, for financial disintegration. Heaven says, you are being watched, not just by us but by what was sent to drain you. This cursed object has been monitoring, not passively but intentionally. It has been assigned to track and trap. It does not sleep. It does not rest. And as long as it remains unexposed, it will continue to pull from your bank accounts, from your spirit, from your strength. But here is the prophetic shift. Revelation is rescue. Revelation is reversal. Revelation is freedom. This is your moment. This is not just a warning. This is your invitation to be unbound. Because when truth enters a space, darkness has no legal right to remain. So as Archangel Michael stands at the entrance to your home, you must do the same. Stand in spiritual alignment. Be ready. Because what you using or will be what Judas to say. And what you confront will be what heaven removes. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 777 is now activated and surrounding your household. They have tried to tell you it was stress. They said it was just life. They said you were overthinking it, but your spirit knew better. Because what you've been feeling isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. There's been a cloud you couldn't name, a pressure you couldn't shake, a sadness that sits without a source. This isn't just a season, it's an interference. A spiritual pollutant has been whispering through the walls of your home. And the source, hidden in plain sight. There is an object in your atmosphere, ordinary in appearance, but deadly in assignment. It's not just a thing, it's a signal. A cursed object can drain a room of peace without saying a word. It can trigger fatigue, anxiety, mood swings, sudden financial decline, emotional breakdowns, and relational conflict. And you've been asking, what's wrong with me? But heaven is answering today, it's not you. It's what was planted around you. You're not crazy. You're not lazy. You're not lacking. You are being targeted. And it's not random, it's surgical. Precision attacks meant to disrupt your purpose and delay your promise. You wake up tired, though you slept. You sit in silence, but your mind feels loud. You feel watched, though no one is in the room. Your money disappears, even when you budget. That is not misfortune. That is spiritual intersection. The cursed object is a spy. It is a doorway. And the greatest deception is that it came through love. It entered your home through someone you trusted, someone who had no idea what they were carrying. A gift, a hand-me-down, a keepsake. They thought they were being generous. They thought it was harmless. But what they didn't know is that it carried history. It carried energy. It carried legal permission for darkness to enter. Now listen. This is where the betrayal begins to sting. Because you are fighting a war that wasn't supposed to be yours. This wasn't your curse. This wasn't your debt. This wasn't your warfare. But because it entered your home, it now affects your harvest. Your finances have been bound, not because of a lack of faith, but because of a hidden interference. And you've been praying, but something hath been intercepting the answer. You cry out to God and hear no reply. You sow seeds and see no return. You move forward, and something invisible pushes you back. That's because there's been a spiritual contract written over your environment, and the cursed object is the signature. The room has been speaking another frequency, repelling what heaven has been trying to send. It's not your prayer life that's broken. It's not your faith that's weak. It's the silent agreement that was signed in the Spirit without your permission. And now, heaven is revealing it, because the time of ignorance has expired. You're not being punished. You're being awakened. And what you remove, heaven will restore. But until it's remove it, your hands will continue to labor without harvest. Your heart will continue to believe without breakthrough. And your house will continue to feel like a battleground instead of a sanctuary. This message found you for a reason. The Spirit of God sent this word not to scare you, but to free you. And now that you know the truth, the next move belongs to you. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1188 is now surrounding your atmosphere. If this message is reaching into the very center of your spirit, if the fire of truth is stirring your discernment, then you already know. This isn't just a video. This is a divine assignment to awaken and deliver others still bound by what they can't see. Your support isn't about helping us. It's about helping heaven reach them. Every gift, every super thanks, every membership fuels the mission to uproot darkness and plant light. Just as the word says in Galatians 6:7, "Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." When you sow into this revelation, you are sowing into the uprooting of curses and the release of blessings, not just for you, but for others walking the same path you've now been pulled from. I hear the Spirit say, as you give, I will rebuke the devourer for your sake. I'm asking you now, if your spirit was stirred, let it become action. The PayPal link is in the description below, and your seed will be met with fire from heaven. This is not a donation. This is a deliverance act. This is spiritual warfare, and your support is a sword in the Spirit. Those who give, may the oil of preservation and divine discernment fall on your household tonight. The gates of financial delay are breaking, not just in words but in manifestation. So now, you with authority. Don't delay the breakthrough that your obedience will release. This is not bad luck. This is not coincidence. This is not life simply being unfair. What you are experiencing is not natural. It is deeply, strategically, and spiritually engineered. The conflict surrounding your finances, your emotions, your relationships, and your atmosphere is not rooted in human failure. It is rooted in spiritual sabotage. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are marked. Because you are chosen. Because something sacred was placed on your life long before you could understand it. And now, the enemy has dispatched agents, not with swords, but with objects. Objects designed to blend in, to linger undetected, and to dismantle you from the inside out. That's why your prayers have felt like whispers in a storm. That's why your efforts have met resistance that defies logic. That's why your finances have risen only to fall again. You have been dealing with something spiritual, but you've been trying to fight it in the physical. This is not a motivational message. This is a spiritual revelation. You have been under siege by a curse attached to an object in your home. It is not made of flesh and blood, but it has carried a spirit that opposes the hand of God over your life. This object didn't just carry weight. It carried assignment. It didn't just sit on your shelf or hang on your wall or lay in a drawer. It established spiritual residence. It became a legal entry point for demonic oppression, not by force but by deception. And this is where the battle must be refrained. This isn't just about something being off. This is about a silent war that's been raging in your environment, a war that your spirit has been trying to signal to your mind for weeks, maybe even months. You've been brushing it off, but heaven never brushed it off. Heaven saw it. Heaven recorded the interference. And heaven allowed this moment to interrupt your life, not to accuse you, but to awaken you. Because God will never allow a curse to dwell long in the presence of the chosen without exposing it. And now the light has come. The mask is lifting. And you must understand, this is not punishment. This is protection. The true conflict has never been about the object itself. The object is simply a carrier. The true conflict is about your identity. The enemy introduced contamination not because of where you are, but because of where you're going. This was not a reaction. It was a prevention plan. Hell saw the door opening over your finances. Hell heard the prayers that were about to be answered. Hell knew the elevation that was near. And the cursed object was planted as a preemptive strike to ensure you would never walk in the fullness of what was promised. But listen closely now. Your response to this moment determines your outcome. This is a test of discernment. Will you continue to live by sight, looking at your situation with natural eyes? Or will you rise up in spirit, walk through your home with holy authority, and confront the unseen thing that's been blocking your blessing? God is not playing games with you. Heaven is not teasing you with delay. The angelic realm has already responded. The sword is already drawn. The presence is already near. Now the question is, will you act? Will you obey the whisper? Will you trust the trembling of your spirit when you approach that drawer, that shelf, that closet? Heaven has seen the object. Heaven has marked it. Even if your eyes haven't, the Spirit has. And the Spirit is now leading you, step by step, to its exposure. Not to embarrass you, but to free you. To unbind what has been blocking. To break what has been strangling. To remove what had been assigned to monitor your movement and restrain your harvest. This is not an ordinary message. This is a deliverance moment. The cursed object was never stronger than you. It only survived because it was hidden. But now it is exposed, and that exposure is your permission to evict it. Type "I walk by spirit, not by sight" in the comments if this word has struck your spirit. Blessing code 4411 is now released upon your discernment. Before the next moon cycle, what you ignore will begin to anchor itself deeper. What you tolerate will establish a throne. What you excuse will start to govern. Heaven is not only warning, heaven is timing. The Spirit of the Lord has placed a clock in motion, and the sand is falling swiftly. What you delay now will delay you in the future. And what you uncover now will unlock what's been divinely withheld until this very moment. The cursed object is not content to remain still. It is not passive. It is not waiting. It is working, even while you sleep. It is moving through your finances like a leech in the bloodstream. Slowly draining, quietly stealing, subtly rewriting the atmosphere around you. If it remains in place, it will continue to pull your progress backward, recycle your losses, and reset your growth to zero every time you move forward. That is not life happening to you. That is darkness refusing to let you go. You have asked, "Why do I feel stuck?" You have said, "Every time I rise, I fall again." That cycle is not a pattern of laziness or lack. It is a spiritual trap, a repeating delay reinforced by what was given access through this cursed object. Heaven is showing you this not to create fear, but to activate holy urgency. because the longer the object remains, the deeper the roots become. And once it anchors, it starts affecting everything. Your money, your mood, your marriage, your motivation. You become heavy without cause. You lose passion for the things that once lit your spirit. You stop dreaming because something keeps breathing doubt over every vision. Some of you have already begun to notice invisible activity. The lights flicker when no one moves. The air shifts without a breeze. You feel watched in the silence. You dream of shadows, of serpents, of strange voices. These are not accidents. These are manifestations, symptoms of something that was given room to speak, to operate, and to reside. But now, I say to you by the authority of heaven, there is a line in time being drawn, and you must act within it. Within the next 72 hours, light will expose what is hidden. But hear me, that exposure will only come if you obey. It is not enough to be aware. It is not enough to agree. Revelation without response is rebellion in disguise. Heaven has shown you the presence of the thing. Now you must move with the Spirit to identify it. You don't need to guess. You don't need to panic. The Spirit will reveal it. You will feel it when you get near. Your body will tighten. Your spirit will tremble. Something within you will signal that what you're touching does not belong in your space. Trust that signal. Trust that trembling. For the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead now quickens your discernment to cleanse the atmosphere of your dwelling. Do not wait until things get worse. Do not ignore this message and hope the feeling goes away. You are not imagining this. You are perceiving it in the Spirit. And heaven has chosen this moment to send a sword into your house, not to wound you, but to cut the cord of demonic access. There is spiritual pressure building, and it will either break the chains around your finances or reinforce them. Your response determines which one. The curse came in silently, but it must be cast out with authority. You must walk your house with fire in your mouth and revelation in your hands. You must decree the eviction of what has been eating your increase, draining your oil, and contaminating your flow. This is your moment of divine confrontation. What you remove now will never return. What you expose now will never reclaim your peace. What you obey now will change the legacy of your entire bloodline. Type "I will obey" within 72 hours in the comments if you receive this instruction. Blessing code 1010 is breaking every cycle of delay now. Do not panic. Heaven never reveals what it is not ready to remove. The presence of fear is the enemy's last defense before exposure. And right now, the enemy is trembling because the truth has come and your spirit has aligned. The Archangel Michael is not just observing from a distance. He is present, sword unsheathed, authority activated, standing as a divine guardian at the spiritual gates of your home. You are not abandoned in this battle. You are not left to figure this out in your own strength. Heaven fights when you remain still in obedience. Peace must go before power. Calm must precede confrontation. The Spirit of God is not chaotic, and your next steps must be grounded in clarity, not panic. You've received the revelation. Now the activation begins. This is where stillness becomes strategy. The Lord is saying, sanctify your atmosphere. Cleanse your dwelling. Prepare the ground for deliverance. You don't need to wage war in fear. You simply need to create an environment where heaven is free to move. Tonight, when the world sleeps, you will rise in silence. Turn off every noise, every screen, every scroll. Let your spirit finally speak louder than your surroundings. Because what you are about to confront cannot be done in distraction. You will walk through your space, not in chaos, but in holy command. You will touch doors, windows, walls, drawers, closets, and as you move, you will speak aloud the words, "The presence of God fills this house." No curse can stay. No darkness can hide. No assignment can remain. You are not speaking into the air. You are legislating in the Spirit. Heaven hears you. Demons obey you. The atmosphere will shift as you declare, because your authority is not in volume. It's in revelation. It's in alignment. It's in obedience. You are not begging darkness to leave. You are evicting it. Use salt as a sign, a prophetic act. Line the entry points of your home, doors, windows, with salt as a declaration of purity. Speak the word of God as you do it. Say, "Let this be a border between light and darkness. Nothing cursed may enter. Nothing hidden may remain." This is not ritual. This is alignment. You are coming into agreement with heaven. And where agreement exists, power flows without resistance. Invite the Holy Spirit in every room. Whisper His name until the air feels charged, until the corners feel watched, until the silence becomes holy. Heaven does not need noise to move. Heaven responds to posture. As your house is cleansed, you will begin to notice it, the shift. The heaviness will begin to lift. The air will change. The strange noises will cease. The restlessness will settle. What once stirred in shadows will now flee from the light of your obedience. The Archangel Michael remains stationed, guarding the entry points of your home as you obey. A sword is not for show. It is for battle. And he has not been sent to simply warn. He had been sent to war. War on your behalf. War in the unseen. And as you align with heaven through silence, prayer, and prophetic action, Michael enforces what you declare. No object hidden will survive the weight of your words. No spirit assigned will withstand the heat of your obedience. And remember this, where the presence of God is invited, no curse can root, no darkness can linger, no enemy can hide. The cursed object may have gained access, but it will not keep residence. It is now being marked for removal. Its power is being stripped. Its grip is being broken. You are not alone. You are not weak. You are not outnumbered. You are covered, guarded, and commanded to stand. Now cleanse your space. Seal your gates. And let peace become your weapon. Type "My home is under heaven's protection" in the comments if you receive this instruction. Blessing code 9090 is sealing your household now. The fear is lifting now. The confusion that once clouded your heart is dissolving like mist before the dawn. You can feel it, the shift. The atmosphere no longer owns you. You are beginning to own it. Heaven has moved from warning to empowerment, from exposure to activation. You are not the target anymore. You are the weapon. The one who once trembled under oppression is now standing as a vessel of authority, clothed in the same light that broke your chains. You are no longer the one being hunted. You are now the one heaven trusts to hunt the darkness out. Every curse that once whispered in secret has now been silenced by your awakening. You are learning that power was never about control. It was about clarity. What you understand, you can overcome. What you name, you can command. The enemy's greatest strength was in your ignorance. Once that veil was torn, his dominion ended. The cursed object, though simple in appearance, was designed to make you forget your spiritual identity. It sought to make you see yourself as small, vulnerable, powerless. But that illusion has now shattered. You are realizing that even in silence, heaven fights through you. You are the one carrying divine jurisdiction over your environment. This shift is not only about your home, it's about your entire posture. You will no longer approach life as someone who hopes for mercy, but as someone who enforces divine order. The Holy Spirit within you is not passive. He is fire. He is authority. And that authority now burns through every corner of your dwelling. You are stepping into your inheritance as one who walks in spiritual discernment, the ability to separate light from darkness, truth from imitation, blessing from bondage. This is where transformation begins. You are moving from reaction to command. You will no longer be surprised by spiritual attack, because revelation has trained your senses. You are learning to walk with an alert spirit. The same tremor that warned you of the curse will now guide you into prophetic discernment. When something unclean approaches your life, you will know it before it manifests. You will sense it before it speaks. You will discern it before it deceives. It is empowerment, the birth of divine awareness through the ashes of warfare. Your home is no longer a battleground. It is now a furnace of divine purification. Every room that once echoed with confusion will now resound with peace. Every corner that once carried fear will now blow with holy presence. Heaven is turning your dwelling into a sanctuary of light. What was meant to drain your finances will now multiply your resources. What was meant to suppress your anointing will now magnify your discernment. What was meant to silence your prayers will now amplify your voice in heaven. Remember this: power grows in obedience. Every act of trust you have made has built a spiritual fortress around your life. You are no longer a victim of cycles. You are the keeper of holy ground. You are the gatekeeper of your destiny. You are the one who opens and closes doors in the unseen. God has entrusted you with dominion. The angels now respond to your decree because you are standing under divine alignment. The same Archangel Michael who came to defend you now salutes you as a partner in the war for your household. Rise now into your authority. Speak boldly. Pray confidently. Declare victory even before it manifests, because the moment you speak it, heaven enforces it. The chains are gone. The curse is powerless. And your spirit has been reintroduced to its original form, fearless, radiant, and unstoppable. Type "I am the weapon of light" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2121 is unlocking your divine authority now. Heaven does nothing by accident. What has been revealed to you was never random. It was never coincidence. This moment, this confrontation with a cursed object, this divine awakening, it was preordained. You may have thought you stumbled upon this message. You may have assumed it was just another video. But hear me in the Spirit. This was a divine summons, issued from the courts of heaven, because what was hidden in your atmosphere was interfering with your assignment on the earth. You've asked why this happened. Why would God allow such a thing to enter your home? Why would something cursed be permitted to come so close? And here is the truth, child of God. Heaven allowed the curse to test your spiritual sight. This was not a failure. This was a filtering, a revealing of your discernment, your authority, and your alignment with the Spirit. The cursed object didn't enter to destroy you. It entered to provoke your growth. And now that it has been exposed, so too is your next level of spiritual elevation. This exposure marks a turning point. It marks the moment where heaven says, "Now I can trust you with more." Because only those who can detect contamination can carry true consecration. Only those who can war against darkness in silence can be trusted with the weight of visible favor. You have been vetted in the secret place, and your response has been heard in the unseen. You didn't need applause. You didn't need confirmation. You acted in obedience, and heaven recorded every movement. The removal of the cursed object is more than physical. It is prophetic. It represents a disconnection from every spiritual gate that was illegally opened in your life. It severs agreements that were made in your bloodline before you ever knew they existed. It breaks the mouth of altars that were speaking against your destiny without your knowledge. And now, because of your obedience, something has shifted in the unseen. A mantle is being placed upon you. Not just a blessing, but a charge. Because your name has been spoken in the courts of heaven, your identity has been reaffirmed. You are not simply called, you are commissioned. Heaven is no longer just defending you, heaven is preparing to deploy you. You were not meant to live your life constantly under attack. You were meant to become a deliverer for others. You were meant to break cycles, not just for yourself, but for everyone connected to your bloodline. And now, that mantle has begun to rest on you. You have passed through the fire of discernment, and you have come out refined. You must understand, the cursed object was a test, not a sentence. Do the gate to greater glory. It was a necessary exposure before your next elevation. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. And now that the object is identified and removed, watch what happens. The financial gates will begin to open. The blockage will break. The resistance will cease. Heaven will send what was once withheld. Not because it is finally your turn, but because it hath been your time all along. The obstruction just had to be cleared. Your obedience has created a vacuum in the spirit, a space now ready to be filled with divine resources. The heavens are responding with acceleration. Doors will open without effort. Opportunities will find you. What was once stolen will now be returned. What was once delayed will now be delivered. So receive this now. This was never about the object. It was never about the curse. It was about activation. The Spirit of the Lord has marked your maturity and called you faithful. Now rise, not as one who was attacked, but as one who has conquered. The house has been cleared. The spirit realm has been notified. And your name is echoing in places demons cannot enter, and angels will not leave. Type "My name is known in heaven" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 5544 is now announcing your elevation. You've just crossed into prophetic territory, and if your spirit is trembling with confirmation, then heaven has marked you for impact. These messages are more than warnings. They are divine appointments meant to unlock the imprisoned, expose the enemy, and restore what was stolen. When you support this mission, through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal seed, you are sowing into the awakening of others who are still surrounded by darkness they cannot name. This is not about helping a platform. This is about helping heaven interrupt someone's bondage. When you give, you declare, "Use me to deliver someone else." Just as the word says, "The generous shall be enriched, and he who waters shall himself be watered." Your seed is a sword. Your gift is a breakthrough waiting to happen for someone else. I invite you now, don't just receive, release. The PayPal link is in the video description, and your obedience will not return void. Heaven sees what you give, and it will answer in overflow, in favor, and in supernatural reversal. Release your seed, and may your support be recorded in the scrolls of divine remembrance. This is your moment to stand with the mission, and watch what God unlocks in your name. Now that the veil has been torn, and the cursed object exposed, a divine invitation stands before you. This is not the end of a battle. This is the beginning of your commissioning. Heaven is not calling you to simply survive the warfare. Heaven is calling you to walk in your authority and unlock the door to your divine destiny. This moment was designed to pull you out of stagnation, out of delay, out of passivity, and push you into alignment with the very purpose for which you were born. Let this truth pierce your soul. Destiny does not wait for comfort. It responds to obedience. You have prayed for clarity. You have begged for breakthrough. You have fasted for open doors. And now heaven replies with one clear command: move. Act. Declare. Cleanse. Obey. Your destiny is not delayed by chance. It is unlocked through action. And the time to act is not later. It is now. Walk through your home. Touch the walls. Lay your hand on the entryways. Let every step become a declaration of war and a promise of peace. Say it aloud: I cleanse my home in divine authority. Your words are not empty. They are not ritual. They are fire. Every syllable carries the breath of heaven. Every declaration builds a wall of light around your dwelling. You are not just speaking to air. You are speaking into the architecture of the spirit realm. And that realm is responding. Open your mouth and say it. I am not waiting for freedom. I'm activating it. You do not need to ask for permission. Heaven already gave it. You are not a beggar in the spirit. You are an enforcer of divine law. The cursed object tried to convince you otherwise. It tried to shrink you into silence. It tried to make you live beneath your birthright. But your obedience has burned the veil. Now, everything shifts. You do not simply live in a house. You steward a holy territory. And where light reigns, no curse can anchor. This is a moment of divine confrontation, but it is also a moment of divine confirmation. Every act of cleansing is a mirror of your heart's obedience. When you touch what was once contaminated and cast it out, you are not just removing a thing, you are declaring a new season, a new alignment. A new version of yourself is rising. One who is no longer passive. One who no longer tolerates hidden sabotage. One who walks in the authority of a blood-covered air. You have the authority to bind and to loose. Bind every spirit that entered through what was cursed. Lose the presence of God into every inch of your atmosphere. Bind confusion. Loose clarity. Bind financial deception. Lose supernatural provision. You are not speaking hopes. You are speaking heaven's verdict. The Spirit of the living God responds when a chosen vessel declares His word in faith. And today, that vessel is you. Heaven waits for your yes. And your yes is not a whisper. It is a door swinging open in the Spirit. It is the activation of a timeline that has waited for you to agree. Every moment of delay has built to this threshold. Cross it now. Destiny does not respond to delay. It responds to obedience. And your obedience in this moment breaks not just one curse, but generational resistance that was sent to stop your bloodline from ever walking in fullness. This was never just about an object. It was about ownership. Who owns your space? Who governs your gates? You do. And when you act in spiritual authority, heaven moves through your motion. God responds to action. Angels are released on command. And breakthrough is no longer delayed. It is dispatched. Type "I activate my destiny" now in the comments if this word is yours. Lesson code 3030 is unlocking what obedience has made room for. While you sleep, heaven moves. While you breathe in stillness, there is a sound rising in the spirit realm, a sound the natural ear cannot detect. A transaction is taking place, a divine reversal, a heavenly negotiation. What was once stolen, what was once blocked, what was once wrapped in the hands of darkness, is being transferred back into your inheritance. Quietly, swiftly, righteously. This is the silent exchange in the spirit realm, the moment when obedience triggers restoration without noise. You may not see it yet, but the shift has already begun. Even now, while your body rests, angels are in motion, sweeping through the dimensions of your atmosphere, recovering what was taken, replacing what was tainted. What the cursed object opened, heaven is now sealing shut. What the cursed object drained, heaven is now refilling. Your loss was never permanent. It was recorded, measured, weighed, and now it is being repaid, not with human compensation, but with supernatural justice. Do not be deceived by the silence. The absence of noise is not the absence of power. The most powerful moves of God rarely arrive with a shout. They come as a shift, one that turns unseen hinges, one that closes spiritual doors and opens portals of blessing. You don't need to chase the evidence. You need to stand in the faith of what's already been decreed. There is movement in the heavenly realm, and your name has authorized it. Listen closely. Your obedience triggered this. Not a feeling, not a wish, not even a prayer alone. But the moment you obeyed, heaven moved. The moment you said yes. The moment you walked your home and spoke truth into the atmosphere. That act became a seed in the unseen. And that seed has produced a harvest that is now being dispersed on your behalf. Not all restoration makes noise. Some blessings arrive like the morning, subtle, undeniable, full of light. And yes, this is where the enemy begins to panic, because what he sent to bind your finances has now become a receipt of repayment. Your tears have been collected, not ignored. Your disappointment was not wasted. Every sleepless night, every delay, every moment you questioned your own worth, those were transactions in the courts of heaven, and heaven does not lose what was suffered under divine eyes. You were never forgotten. You were being measured for justice, and justice is now in motion. What was drained will now fuel your next season. What was cursed will now fund the blessing. What was broken is being rebuilt, and not with leftovers, with divine replacement. God is not restoring you back to where you were. He is propelling you into where the enemy hoped you'd never arrive. You are entering a season that your warfare qualified you for. You were tried. You were tested. And now you are being trusted. The cursed object was never more powerful than your promise. It only had influence because it was hidden. But once you acted in truth, once you activated discernment, once you obeyed, the legal grounds were stripped. And now, heaven reclaims what darkness illegally touched. There is a shifting in the vaults of divine provision. Ledgers are being rewritten. Delays are being reversed. And every place your name was held back is now being released forward. You may not see it with your eyes just yet, but your spirit has already felt it. That subtle release, that unexpected peace, that quiet confidence, that is the sound of restoration arriving in silence. The enemy cannot stop what he cannot trace, and this blessing is coming in a form that cannot be intercepted. Stand still, remain watchful, but rest. Heaven is at work, and this exchange, silent as it may seem, is securing your future. Type "heaven is moving for me" in the comments if this word is yours. Blessing code 8484 is now activating divine repayment. The judge of heaven has ruled. The gavel has fallen in the courts of the unseen. And the verdict is not against you. It is for you. What was permitted for a season is now being revoked for eternity. What was allowed to test you is now being judged and sent back to its origin. Every spirit, every word, every curse, every delay that was anchored through that object has now been bound by the word of God and sentenced by the justice of heaven. You need to understand the magnitude of what's happening. This is not just restoration. This is reversal. A divine turnaround has begun, and it carries the authority of the Most High. The same object that invited bondage is now being used as evidence against the enemy. The same access point that once gave the adversary ground in your house is now closed, sealed, and sanctified. What once stood as an altar of sabotage has become a record of your obedience, and that obedience has released a judgment of vengeance from the throne room of God. For every time your finances were attacked, sevenfold recompense is now being issued. For every door that was slammed shut, a divine door is being opened that no man and no demon can close. For every sleepless night of confusion, a season of divine clarity is being ushered in. And this time, it will not come with toil, it will come with ease. You will not have to force what now flows. You will not have to chase what now finds you. This is the year of heaven-backed reward. Make no mistake, spiritual justice is never partial. Heaven balances all scales with exactness. What was stolen, delayed, or tainted is not just being returned, it is being returned with interest, with oil, with multiplied favor. God has not only defended you, He has honored you. He has heard every cry, seen every loss, and now He has judged the matter fully. The spiritual forces that worked against you are being stripped, exposed, and expelled. The portals they entered through have been shut. The curses they released are now turned back upon their heads, and the assignments they carried are now nullified by holy decree. And what of you? You are no longer a victim. You are now a steward of vindication. You are walking into a season where everything attached to your name must come into alignment. The money you couldn't hold, you will now multiply. The dreams you abandoned will reawaken. The prayers that felt unanswered will now unfold visibly, not because God was slow to move, but because the timing of justice had to be fulfilled. You are entering the harvest of every unseen yes, every fast you did in secret, every sacrifice no one applauded, every step you took in faith when all you had was a whisper from God. The reversal is not emotional, it is judicial, it is legal, it is permanent. The warfare is over, not because the enemy gave up, but because heaven overruled his access. The cursed object was the final key, and now that it has been removed, nothing remains that can block what is yours. Archangel Michael now stands as not just your defender, but your enforcer. He is stationed at your gates. His sword is drawn, not to strike you, but to strike down anything that dares approach what is now marked as holy ground. Your home is under divine surveillance. Your finances are under divine protection. Your name is under divine elevation. And your legacy is under divine expansion. This is the justice of God. Full. Final. True ever. Type I receive divine justice in the comments if this speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 7171 is reversing the verdicts of darkness and releasing the justice of heaven. Let your spirit exhale. Let the tension fall from your shoulders. Let the stillness of this moment wrap around your heart like a mantle. Because what needed to be broken has been broken. What needed to be exposed has been exposed. And what needed to be removed has been removed. You are standing on the other side of the storm, not with the residue of fear, but with the fragrance of freedom. The cursed object was never your destiny. It was a test, a moment of spiritual awakening disguised as warfare. And you passed. You were not left to perish in confusion. You were pursued by mercy. You were guided by revelation. You were protected by angelic presence. And now, you are walking into a new clarity, a new covering, and a new covenant. What tried to curse you has now become the confirmation of your calling. You were not overlooked. You were being observed, watched by heaven to see if your spirit would discern what others ignored. And you did. Heaven has recorded your obedience. Heaven has sealed your breakthrough. The delay that once mocked your faith has now bowed to your authority. Your finances are no longer trapped in invisible warfare. Your home is no longer a battlefield. Your atmosphere is now an altar. The shift is permanent. The cleansing is complete. And the enemy has no return ticket. Now may this be your blessing. May every shadow flee at your command. May every door you walk through carry heaven's approval. May your finances multiply, your peace overflow, and your spirit remain sharp with divine discernment. May every object that enters your home from this day forward be filtered through the Holy Spirit. And may Archangel Michael remain stationed at your threshold, sword drawn, ready to guard what you've reclaimed. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Now rise. Rise in peace. Rise in confidence. Rise in authority. This was not just a deliverance. It was a divine commissioning. And tonight, as you rest, be silent. Be still. Heaven is cleansing your home. Type "I am sealed" and sent in the comments if you receive this final blessing. Blessing code 9999 is now covering your home, your future, and your name. If this message sealed something in your spirit, if the tears came not from fear, but from recognition, then know this. God just used this very word to cleanse your atmosphere and awaken your calling. You're not just a viewer, you're a vessel. And through your support, others can walk into the same freedom you just experienced. This is a mission of deliverance, of exposure, of divine reversal. When you sow into this message, through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are saying to heaven, use me to light someone else's path. Use me to break another chain. You are not giving to a man. You are sowing into the movement of divine justice. As the word says, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Your seed becomes a prophetic echo, activating blessings in realms you cannot see yet. May your giving speak louder than any curse sent against you. May your obedience return as overflowing protection, provision, and peace. Now is your moment. Give with holy urgency. Sow with faith. Heaven remembers,